The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Today's lesson introduces 10 characters, 9 of which are based on an oracle bone drawing of firewood, catching fire, burning brightly, and giving off sparks. It's pronounced third tone, zhõ. With its connotation of brightness, it was later borrowed to show emphasis to distinguish one person or thing from another. 日语跟华语两者相差很大. Japanese and Chinese, the two languages are very different. 者 stresses the number, something like those very two. 三者少一不可. Of the three, not one of them can be omitted. 三者 means three of whatever it is you're talking about. 有外语能力者找差事没问题. Those who speak a foreign language have no problem finding a job. 者 here means those people who. 想要抢银行者没有得手. The would-be bank robbers did not succeed. 者 often translates to an English noun with er, robber, similar to the more colloquial 抢银行的人. Before going further, we should review the character 个 from lesson 25, which you might recall is one half of a bamboo branch, signifying one unit of anything. Now we need to learn the full and proper character for bamboo. Pronounced second tone, 煮. There are many different calligraphic styles, so here are two versions of the bamboo radical, which enter into the composition of other characters. As a plant, bamboo takes the unstressed z ending, 竹子, which makes it easily recognizable as a noun. Otherwise, when bamboo serves as a radical at the top of another character, it's called 竹字头. The third character in today's lesson combines 者 with the bamboo radical. It shows two bamboo sticks stoking a fire to make a hotter, brighter flame. It's pronounced fourth tone, 注. This character is the rare literary form for chopsticks, which are also made of bamboo and used for stirring or grasping pieces of food. It's not, however, the everyday word for chopsticks in Mandarin. We need this particular ideogram because it forms the semantic or phonetic basis for all of the other characters in today's lesson. This next slide shows what happened to zhu over the centuries. Because of its usefulness, the original 6-stroke bamboo radical was simplified to a 4-stroke grass radical, although it still retained the original elements of grasping and stirring burning wood to stoke a brighter, hotter fire. It developed 4 different pronunciations, keeping the original 4th tone zhu, but adding unstressed zh, 2nd tone zháo, and 2nd tone zhuó. To help you remember when to use which pronunciation, I'll use different colored slide backgrounds and very short phrases containing the most important vocabulary. First, the white and gray slides are for unstressed zh, which often corresponds to an English ing verb form. This form derives from the idea of burning brightly, meaning it's being emphasized, somewhat like the effect of the ing verb ending in English. For example, 趴着看书, reading while lying on one's stomach. 闲着没事, standing, sitting, or lying around, doing nothing in particular. 围着她坐, gathered around her. Literally, encircling her and sitting. 正眼看着我, look me in the eye. Literally, face me directly, looking in my eyes. 我说着玩的, I was just kidding. Literally, I was playing while speaking. The next group takes 4th tone, zhu, and the examples appear on a yellow background. The meanings of author and well-known written works comes from the original bamboo radical, indicating that bamboo sticks were used to stoke and stir up a fire. You will recall that ancient Chinese books were written on slips of bamboo and bound into rolls. 著者, an author or writer. 著名的小说, a well-known novel. 名著, a masterpiece or famous written work. Now we have a group of 5 slides on a green background, where the character is pronounced 2nd tone, zháo, and refers to the basic idea of wood catching fire. This implies an objective has been reached successfully. Contact has been made. As in these examples, 上不着天, 下不着地. Suspended mid-air, touching neither sky nor ground. 他找着了. Literally, he searched for and found it. 歪打正着. Literally, shooting crooked but hitting the bullseye. This can apply to many situations where an ultimate objective is gained, although indirectly and unintentionally at the time. Now, the objective is you. You are being impacted in some way by the circumstances. 小心着凉. Be careful not to catch cold. Don't let the cold air affect you. 不要着急. Don't let anxiety take hold of you. Don't worry, stay calm. The next 4 slides with a dark green border give examples of 2nd tone zhuó, ostensibly referring to the original sense of taking up sticks and stoking a fire for the purpose of increasing light and heat. Keep that idea in mind. There is a purpose, an objective to be achieved. 如何着手? How to begin? Where to start? 着重品性. to emphasize moral character. 着意完成, to take pains to complete something, focus one's mind on it. 着力开创, to concentrate one's efforts on setting something up, to devote one's energy to it. A word of caution to students of Chinese. Do not be surprised if you hear native speakers occasionally change the tones in some of these phrases. The examples given here are the pronunciations prescribed by dictionaries, but native speakers are not bound by those strict rules. All of the following characters take zhu as phonetic, minus its bamboo top. Remember that zhu is based on zhõ, a fire burning hot and bright. Zhõ was used mostly to emphasize the person performing an action, or to emphasize a number, the 2, the 3, of whatever it is. The fifth character in today's lesson adds the speech radical to create first tone zhu, zhu, meaning all, various, numerous, literally stressing the number of things being mentioned. Here's a phrase often encountered on New Year's cards. 诸事如意. Literally, may all your endeavors go as you desire. And a negative example, 我们曾有诸事不顺心的日子. We've seen times when nothing seemed to go right. 诸如 translates to such as in English. 你念古书，诸如四书，有何心得? What have you learned from reading ancient texts such as the 4 books? 诸多 means numerous. 卫生是诸多问题之一. Sanitation is one of the numerous problems. Today's sixth character contains the drawing of a person kneeling under an enclosed space, alongside the phonetic zhu. Giving it the first tone pronunciations of du and dou. Like Japanese people today, the Chinese used to kneel when resting at home, not sit. Sitting came later. This oracle bone drawing of a person kneeling under an enclosed space is a seldom used ideogram for a town or city. Literally, a space where people live and rest. The full-sized character may not be very common, but as a radical, its contracted shape often appears on the right-hand side of many characters, which leads to a possible confusion with the same shape appearing on the left-hand side. Such as yin, the character indicating the shady side of a mountain. When this capital B shape appears on the left, it's a contraction of fu, the pictogram of steps on a hill or mountainside. When it appears on the right, it's a contraction of yi, meaning a town or city. Take the character in, for example. The B shape is squeezed a bit because the character is not finished and room must be made for the remaining part. On the other hand, in the character du, the B shape appears in final position, so the writer naturally is less constricted with regard to space, and the last vertical stroke can be drawn a little longer. But that's it. There's no other distinction to be made, and they both consist of 3 strokes. Now, here are some examples of 都, the modern character meaning a city. 北京是中国的首都. Beijing is the capital of China. 京都 is a well-known city in Japan, literally capital city, also known as Kyoto. Now, for an English etymology lesson. The Acropolis in Athens, Greece, is a combination of acro, meaning high, and polis, meaning heaped up or built up, together describing a built-up area on high ground. Since polis means a built-up area, in other words, a city, it's not surprising that metropolis is a mother city, a conglomeration of smaller districts grouped into one metropolitan area, protected by the police and governed by politicians. The prefix poly, P-O-L-Y, means a heap, a pile, or simply many, as in polygamy and polyglot. Why the English lesson? Because the Chinese character for city, 都, also means all, every, or whole, with a slight pronunciation change. 都, 人都来了. Everybody has arrived. Everyone's here. 大家都走了吗? Has everyone left? 我都不要. I don't want any of it, any of them. 都是我的不是. It's all my fault. Notice the use of 不是 for fault or blame, literally, not right. 大都 is an expression for mostly, for the most part. 我们家大都是生意人. My family are mostly in business. 女生们大都是早上念书. The girl students study mostly in the mornings. Next we have three characters, all pronounced third tone, 读, 读. The first has added the I radical and means to see, especially in the expression 目睹. "若不是他本人目睹，他不会相信." If she hasn't seen it herself, she won't believe it. 你的一生中一定目睹了很多事. You must have seen a lot of things in your life. The eighth character in today's lesson, also pronounced third tone 读, began as a drawing of city walls with two sides each having a shrine devoted to the ruler's ancestors. It looks much like the original oracle bone pictogram for 高 in lesson 28, an ancestral temple with an open area in front. If we take the phonetic 注 to mean raising the intensity of a fire, 读 with the earth radical refers to the construction of walls by increasing their height with earth and stones. And, of course, the purpose of walls is to defend against outsiders, blocking their way, which is the meaning of 堵, to block up, to stop, or obstruct. This character was also an ancient unit of measurement for the height and width of walls, so it has become the measure word for walls and cliffs. 不要堵着门. Don't block the doorway. 下雪下得很大，我门口都堵了. It snowed so much that even my door was blocked. Notice that 都 means even in this sentence. 在东京没有一天不堵车. In Tokyo, there's never a day without traffic congestion. 你必须一大早出门，怕会堵车. You have to leave really early in case there's a traffic jam. And here's a sentence with a political meaning. 有的国家的目的是围堵中国. Some countries aim to contain China. In other words, obstruct China's rise, political and economic. The ninth character in today's lesson is also pronounced third tone 堵, this time paired with the cowrie shell, meaning money. Since the phonetic 注 means increasing the heat and brightness of a fire, 堵 with the shell radical describes increasing the stakes during gambling to show confidence in one's choice, not to mention the increasing investment of time and energy when gambling becomes an entrenched habit. And when curiosity gets the better of you in a restaurant or public space, you might get up the nerve to annoy someone at another table. 我的女朋友跟我打赌，说你是影星. My girlfriend is betting me that you're a movie star. Notice that 跟 is the preposition used with 打赌. A similar idea is 赌气, meaning to be angry with someone. We learned the expression 生气 before, meaning to become angry. But there's a difference. 生气 can be the result of anything that upsets you, whereas 赌气 is between two people, when one party feels wronged for some reason, just as gambling results in happy winners and sometimes very sore losers. 他一赌气就走了. He went off in a huff. He went off in a fit of pique. 你在跟我赌气吗? Are you mad at me? Now we can review one of our earliest characters, 书, meaning book, writing, and the verb to write. Why go back and look at it again? Because we now have its phonetic, 注, which was somewhat simplified and combined with the brush above it to create a phono-semantic compound, pronounced 书. It belongs with this group because of its phonetic, which means to burn brightly, throw light on, emphasize. And that's what writing does. It records and emphasizes what is important for future generations to remember. Our 10th and final character is composed of the sun radical above the phonetic 注, meaning the sun is burning bright and hot. It's pronounced third tone, 暑, 暑, and means the heat of summer. This gives us the expression for a medical condition, heat or sunstroke, 中暑. 在户外，小心中暑. When outdoors, be careful not to suffer heat stroke. Here is our color chart with today's 10 new characters plus one old one. 者, 猪, 煮, 住. 着, 着, 这. 都, 兜. 数, 书, 赌, 赌, and 赌. have a look at the simplified character for zháo, zhuó, and zhe. It's a cursive variant invented during the Song dynasty over 1,000 years ago. It may be used for any of those 3 pronunciations, and it's the standard character in China. The version with the grass radical on top can be pronounced any of those 4 ways, but it must be used for the meaning of books and writing, and pronounced 4th tone, zhu. Here's what I hope you've learned in today's lesson. 1. All but one of today's 11 characters consist of the ideogram of wood catching fire and giving off light. This basic form is used to literally throw light onto something already mentioned, somewhat like the English er ending to create nouns from verbs. For example, a speaker could be 说话者 or 言者. It may also be added to numbers to say, the 2 of them, 两者, all 5 of them, 五者都, etc. 2. The bamboo radical was added to 者 to indicate 2 sticks stoking a fire to increase its intensity. Stir the embers to make the flames hotter and brighter. The name for these 2 sticks was then applied to everyday utensils, becoming the rarely used character 猪 for bamboo chopsticks. However, 猪 was used extensively as a phonetic, its bamboo top first changing to the grass radical and later disappearing altogether. 3. With its grass radical on top, this character split into 4 common pronunciations: 猪, zháo, zhuó, and unstressed zhe, all of which retain the basic sense of wood catching fire and the act of stoking the flames. In other words, the heat source touches, flames take hold, burning, bamboo tools, the heat and light increase. Review the examples of those 4 pronunciations. 4. Remember that 4th tone 注 must be used when referring to writing, writers, and books, since bundles of bamboo slips were used for this purpose. 5. The character 都 means a town or city, which forms as its population increases. Its second pronunciation, 都, translates as all, every, or whole, and is a natural extension of an entire city filled with people. What's new is the city radical, a capital B shape which is, for all practical purposes, identical to the mountain radical, the only difference being where they appear. Mountain on the left, city on the right. 6. There are 3 characters, all pronounced 3rd tone 读, with 注 as phonetic. When paired with the I radical, it means to see. When combined with the earth radical, it means to stop, block, or obstruct. When matched with the show money radical, it means to gamble or place a bet. 7. In this lesson, we finally learned the phonetic for book, 书, which derived its meaning from the original bamboo radical of 注. The earliest books were written on slips of bamboo. 8. And finally, the sun radical 日 above the 注 phonetic is the ideogram for the increasing heat of summer, 暑, at which time it's necessary to avoid sunstroke, 中暑. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.